Well, there we have it, folks. The Desert X-Prix is complete. And the first round of Extreme E goes to that number 6, RXR, Rosberg's team, driven by Johan Kristoffersson and Molly Taylor. Brilliant job by them to be able to take the first win. And to be honest, am I particularly surprised? You're talking about somebody who is a 3-time World Rallycross champion, and alongside him, somebody who's been the outright Australian Rally champion as well, who is one of the best drivers that we've seen in rallying not to be competing full-time in the WRC. So fantastic job to the pair of them, because they've both been the outright fastest over the course of the event. I mean, when it came to qualifying, the only reason why they weren't actually the ones who ended up taking a top qualifying spot was because of time penalties that they accrued during pitting. And that ended up giving the qualifying advantage to, I guess, what you'd call their rival team, X44, because, you know, Rosberg and Hamilton having a rivalry, that's nothing new. And that was solid driving as well by Loeb and Gutierrez. It was just unlucky for them that they seemed to have issues during the final, which set them back to P3. Second place went for the likes of Andretti, Timmy Hansen and Katie Munnings, and it's brilliant to see them competing as well. It's Andretti Autosport, and not only is Timmy Hansen, no matter what you think of his driving antics, one of the best drivers out there, it's brilliant to see someone like Katie Munnings stepping up and being able to take part in the highest tier of a series in motorsport. She's done junior rallying before, both in the ERC and the WRC. Third place in the semi-final meant that the team of Carlos Sainz and Laia Sanz ended up finishing a bit further down the order than you probably would have expected. Elsewhere, the Hispano-Suiza Excite Energy team of Oliver Bennett and Christine Giampoli-Zonca ended up with some unlucky running in the road, though Christine herself established herself as one of the faster drivers, and the JB the JBXE team of Button and Alan Kotlinski ended up showing some impressive pace as well. We didn't really get to see what was going to happen with Veloce. It was gutting to see that crash with Stefan Sarazan. It meant that Jamie Chadwick didn't even get out on track in qualifying. And then, of course, we had the shootout race where we saw the Chip Ganassi car, driven by Carla Duck at the time, plough into the back of the 125 Apt car, driven by Claudia Hurtgen. That was impressive. It's good to see all the drivers have been okay from all of these shunts. But it hasn't been exactly a weekend to remember for any of those teams in the bottom 3. They're going to be hoping that next time out in just under 2 months' time, the end of May, around La Crosse in Senegal, will be so much better. And it brings up an interesting discussion, because one of the defining features in the X-Prix ended up being dust. And in pretty much all the heats, the people who ended up being the fastest and winning the races were the people who ended up with the best start. And that's because once you got past the first gate and it started to get a bit more twisty and technical, the dust coming up ended up affecting the cars behind. Now, that's not necessarily something that you could say is a takeaway from a detractor almost from what's happened with Extreme E, because in a series that's tried to highlight environmental impact, arguably that's a good example of it. Because it's all about who got the best start. But it also shows an example for why disciplines like the Dakar and Rally Raid, as well as disciplines such as the WRC or any other rallying discipline, usually end up with, staggering the starts. Because people don't want to end up caught in this problem. They don't want to end up being caught in so much dust that they're not able to, compete for the win. But like I said, that's a good example of the environmental impact. And I reckon we'll see it a bit less for the Ocean X-Prix. But I'll be definitely fascinated to see what rounds 3 and 5, the Arctic and Glacier ones, do. Because it could easily go one of two ways. Well, one of several ways. I don't even want to predict that yet. All I've got to say is I've enjoyed being able to sit down and watch this. I've enjoyed having a new championship out there, and to to see it being a battle at the top in terms of the point standings. 35 for Rosberg X Racing and 30 for X44 with Andretti in third on 28. We've got a season on our hands, and it's going to be spectacular. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.